following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everybody, I'm Christine, and this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. I hope everybody's doing great. We're so happy you're back with us again this week. As you can see, I'm alone again. I do not have my co-host Jada. She is still doing her business classes, so hopefully we will have her back. I did see her on a dating network call a couple of days ago, and she's looking good, and she said to say hello to everybody. So she will hopefully be back soon. So today, well, hi, Rebel. First, I want to say hi, Rebel.
Hi, Christine.
Happy to have you here as always. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I am hanging in there. It's been a wild ass week. But it's good. It's very good. I'm very excited about this show today. About 3 years ago, so for those of you who follow the show, you know we've been on for about 3.5 years. And about 3 years ago, I saw this incredibly, God, how do I say this? Very cute man on TikTok. He did these lives, and he was very vivacious and charismatic, and he did these incredible little lives about being with an older woman, and it evolved in, I don't know how long he's had Cougar Crusade. We will ask him when he comes on, but I saw it 3 years ago, and I have followed him ever since, and I love his lives. They're a lot of fun. I just kind of, chill and watch and observe because it's quite entertaining and interesting. I really, really enjoy it. But I have been trying to get Jacob on the show for about 3 years. He's very busy. He's got a whole thing going. So I was finally able to get him on the show, and I'm super excited to tell you about him. But today we are going to talk about older women, younger men. As we all know, I am one of those women. I am.
You are not old.
I am. I am an old ass. I'm not a bitch, but I am old. Thank you, Rebel. I appreciate that. Actually, the pool guy the other day asked me if I was 35, and I was like, "Shit, boy, you can stay as long as you want." I was like, "Honey, no." I am 57 years old now, and I love the older glow up that women get, especially after divorce or after relationships. They feel so beat down in a heavy relationship that isn't very, good for them. So when they get out of a bad relationship, they tend to glow up, and that's a wonderful thing. And dating younger men has been a lifetime thing for me. My first younger man situation, I was 16, he was 13. I know that sounds terrible. That kind of sounds terrible. But whatever. He was fun. We were besties. I'm from a small town, and he was mature for his age. I'm always been a little, not immature, but more vivacious than most women I've known my whole life. And so I've always been attracting younger men, and I feel more comfortable with younger men. And it started out, I've always dated anywhere from 1 to 4 years younger. But since my divorce, which has been 15 years now.
Congratulations.
I know, it's the best fucking 15 years of my life. It actually was amazing because when I was 47, I was dating a 24-year-old. It was a lot of fun, but he was a little too immature for me. He wanted me to teach him too much. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not in the training stage of my life. But it was a lot of fun. And, I typically date anywhere from, I'd say, 10 to 15 to 20 years younger than me. Not because I like immaturity. I just really like how, what's the word I'm looking for?
Energetic, eager to please.
Yeah, a few of those things for sure. But one of the things that I really like is that they're really into spontaneity, and they're a lot of fun, and I like people to be fun, and I'm bored by older men who just want to sit on the couch and do nothing and doesn't want to travel. So that shit's not for me. So let me introduce Jacob so we can get him in here and we can start talking about these things. Jacob Boss is a leading content creator on TikTok, known for his charismatic live streams, sharp storytelling, and the ability to connect with a primarily female audience over 40. As an entertainer and TikTok live host, he brings humor, charm, and authenticity to every broadcast, fostering a vibrant community called the Cougar Crusade. With close to 1 million followers and tens of millions of viewers across platforms, Jacob has built an engaging space where conversation, entertainment, and connection thrive. Jacob's journey in media began in the mid 2000s as a blogger, documenting his experiences as Edmonton's youngest night shift taxi driver. His raw, witty, and unexpected observations laid the foundation for the immersive storytelling that now defines his outline presence. Now a full-time entertainer and live streaming powerhouse, Jacob blends humor, insight, and artistry to create an engaging, dynamic experience for his audience every night. And let me tell you, sisters, if y'all aren't fucking watching Jacob Boss, you are missing out. Let's bring on Jacob and have a little fun.
Hey,
Hi,
hi,
Jacob.
hello. Yeah, thank you for having me. 50 Shades of Bullshit. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Hey, if I knew where you lived in Edmonton, I'd be on the street with a sign going, "Hey, Jacob, you're so
Mm.
fucking hot. It's unbelievable." So,
Really,
hi.
look,
Let's start the show out with me
feel,
hitting on you exceedingly hard.
I feel little and pale and not in my typical realm here. So I'm kind of
Mm.
blue. I look blue. Maybe if I turn off this screen, I'm blue.
No, you look great. You're so beautiful. It doesn't matter what light you're in. So welcome to the show. So I know from your story that you were younger and was dating an older woman. I'd love for you to tell my audience a short rendition of how and what got you started in dating other older women and your crusade for this cougar, shift.
That's, I guess it's a big question. Overall, I began dating mature women who were older than I am, when I was 26. But I'd had events in my life where mature women have taken me home. And so I had learned as a younger guy that mature women were open, but I never understood it until I was 26 when I met a woman in my taxi. And I was blogging about the backseat of the taxi at the time. That's what got me online.
Okay.
And I could tell when I dropped her off that she was interested in something romantic. And that was against my rules, but I did share my blog with her. And so she managed to get a hold of me via the blog. And we began like a romantic email relationship that led to like a very passionate, loving, like physical relationship. So almost I was to about 28, 29 years old. And that was the onset of it. So yeah, meeting a woman who was at the time 14 years old. I was 26. She was in her 40s, 41, maybe 40. I don't know. I don't remember her birthday, but she was 14, 15 years older than me.
Yeah. So when did you start doing what you call the Cougar Crusade?
The Cougar Crusade was named probably about 2 years ago, maybe 26 months ago.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't remember that name when I first saw you. So and I did notice that kind of came around later. So I was curious how long it's been.
I was hashtagging the Cougar Club at the time,
Mm-hmm.
earlier on since the beginning. I think I've been talking about the relationships because there's been many iterations of the boss vlogger and what he represents on TikTok.
Yeah.
So the mature women were really what stuck for me, and that did start, I would say, 3 years ago. You're right, probably when you saw me, and it was the Cougar Club. It was just
Mm-hmm.
the people on TikTok. I resonated with women who could hear me, so that's who I started to talk to.
I love it. And your lives are very fun, and they're sexy, and you put a lot of emphasis on your sex appeal. Jesus Christ. And everybody in my audience knows that I am a I'm so flustered right now, Jacob. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm not normally this flustered, and it's flustering me to have you here because I don't know. Anyway, I do sex magic, and everybody knows I do it. And yeah, I've used you a time or two, so thank you very much.
Sex magic. I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's masturbating with manifesting and meditation, and it is an energy flow that you set an intention for your manifesting or your meditation, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, and it brings on a different kind of energy and yeah.
And so what, you use the show as to help you kind of
No,
boost.
not the show. You.
Okay. I'm lucky. You know what? That's cool. I was actually thinking about that because a lot of times I think broadcasting and being
Mhm.
available to people in
Mhm.
the night that I could end up in their manifestations or
Yeah,
as
let's
one
just
of
say
the
you were in
tools.
my mind. You were in my
Yeah,
mind.
I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's
Your
cool.
cute
Well,
face was in my mind. Actually,
yeah,
we actually have gotten voice texts sent to us here on our show. My co-host Jada and I, and we know people use us too. So
that's good. It's
it was a
exactly.
little wild. It was a little crazy when you hear that kind of stuff. You're like,
I
what? What?
I like that manifestation while for when with that energy at that time you use. That's what I agree with that. I agree with
Yeah.
that. That's a good time to manifest.
Yeah. I used to do this thing all the time. Like, I used to try to just like, I don't know, test things out when I'd go date. And one of the couple of things I would like try out was, they say that if a woman takes vanilla, like cooking vanilla, and puts it on her points where she would put perfume, that it's going to make the guy really into her because he'll not understand what psychologically he's being drawn in with, but it's that warmth, that comfort, that smell of home. Does that make sense? Because of the
I want to lean
vanilla,
into some vanilla right now, actually, just
right?
thinking about it. Like, yeah,
Right.
that's a good idea.
And another thing, like I would go on a date, not wear it, and see if he would lean in because I don't wear perfume. I have a natural, whatever, and then I would try it with it and see if one or the other would be like more physical or lean in or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. The vanilla works, girls. So try the vanilla. The other thing is I would go on a date, just regular, just go on a date, no, nothing, go and just whatever it would be. And then there would be times that I would masturbate right before I go because that hormonal pheromones is really super strong. It makes a pretty big difference in how men are on a date.
Is it meant towards you? So what happened after you
Mhm,
masturbated?
mhm.
You probably
They're
maybe you weren't as receptive.
They were oh, for me, no, it gives me a lot of energy. It doesn't make me go, no, it gives me like, "Woo-hoo, let's go again." So, when I do that before I would go on a date, they would be instantaneously leaning towards me, touching my arm, leaning in, just like I could tell they were smelling me, or they touched my hair. Things that regularly, when I don't do that before a date, that would happen.
Do you
So,
think do you think it's you, or do you think it's them that smell you or something?
um,
Or do you think your behavior is different?
I think my behavior could be a little more different, because when a woman has that afterglow of an orgasm, then you can tell a difference between, if you took one woman, just an average woman, didn't do anything to her, no makeup, no hair, no nothing. And took two photos, before orgasm and after orgasm. You would have a completely different woman in those pictures.
That's a good idea.
It's great.
Have you seen, has someone done that before? That sounds like a good idea.
I know, I got to do that. I just came up with that.
That's a great idea. And I saw her after post orgasm, all like,
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't take much for me.
I agree. I think you're right about the way they would be different.
Uh-huh. So I have a couple Cougar confessions that came through on our Instagram. Confession 1 was, I met him at Trader Joe's while reaching for almond milk. He was 24, I was 47. We left with more than groceries. Confession number 1. Confession number 2, he called me Mrs. Robinson. I told him if he plays his cards right, he can call me mommy. By the way, I went out with this stripper one time, this guy stripper, male stripper. And no, wasn't a, oh yeah, I went out with male strippers. But no, this story has what the fuck? A porn star, a male porn star. And he was younger than me. He was in his 30s and I was in my mid to late 40s. I think I was like 11 years older than him. And he told me that he liked having sex with me more than any of his, like, it's work, it's whatever. But I said, well, those are young, hot, skinny, perfect bodied women. And he's like, no, 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 no. I like the older woman. And then all he wanted to do was call me mommy. And I'm not into the mommy thing. So I was like, peace. That didn't
That is a
last
thing. I
long.
think men do call women mommy sometimes. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard of that though. Men do have a mommy thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you've heard of
Because
it.
yeah, I get. They try to pull the whole mommy, and I'm like, no, can do. That's not me. Confession 3. I didn't know he was 22 until after our second date, but by then it was too late and too good, she said. And my last one was from another woman. I used to be afraid of dating younger. Now I'm in the happiest, healthiest relationship of my life. He's 12 years younger and treats me like gold. Do you hear a lot of that kind of stuff, Jacob?
That's, if it's a healthy relationship, it's usually really happy. And if it's unhappy, I hear them talking about how, oh, I'm training a guy. I don't want to train the guy. And
Yeah.
so there's a duality to it for sure.
Yeah.
I think that in general, if they're healthy people and they connect with the younger guy, what's there to lose, right? If he's a good guy too. I mean, if you're picking
Right.
some sort of psycho, I think a psycho could be a psycho at 22, can be a
Yeah.
psycho at 42 and at 52 too. So when women are unhappy with like the type of selection, who they chose, I think it has to do with their choice, not with like whether or not a young guy is smart, or if a young guy is the asshole, or if that's, you know what I mean?
I find that being an older woman, in my experience and the experience that I've learned from other older women, is that we tend to do our growth mentally and emotionally in our 40s and 50s. We do a lot of maturing and growing and changing, because that's typically, if we're getting divorced, we're divorcing in our 40s and 50s. And so finding ourselves is an incredible journey for any woman. But I find that as they start growing and becoming more independent, more stronger, got their head on straight, they do attract different men. I attract completely different men than before my healing journey. So when I see older women Not everybody's healed. So not everybody's in the right place to pick a great guy. But I do think that a lot of women who do the growth and do the changing and do the work tend to pick different men. And if they're picking younger men, then they're probably picking younger men who are worthy of that time and that energy and the effort, because they're picking better people because they're in a different place in their life.
I'd like to hear about your the healing bit. So when did the healing thing happen? What was that like for you, and what age did it happen at?
Yeah. Well, I'm 57 now. Let's see. I can't, let's see. I'm 57 now, and I got a divorce 15 years ago. So that would be what? I can't do math. 44, 40, 44, 43, something like that. And I was pretty upset for a long time because I didn't want to get a divorce. I didn't want my husband to cheat. I didn't want to raise 3 kids by myself. I didn't want all of this. My life imploded and it made me fucking mad. And I didn't realize how angry I was until, somebody I was kind of dating after my divorce said, "Whew, you're angry all the time." And I was like, "Yeah, well, my life fucking blew up. What do you expect from me?" So traditional therapy doesn't work for me because I don't want to sit around and hash out my bullshit. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've talked about it a million times and I don't want to talk about it. I have no problem talking to anybody about the trauma and drama that I went through in my life. So for me, I didn't want to do that. I needed to figure out what to do with my anger and how to manage it. So I went to anger management, actually, on my own. I chose that.
As a
route.
form of therapy. I mean, if you're angry like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. So I did that, and that helped me tremendously. And then I I knew I wanted to do something with, 50 Shades of Bullshit. It was originally going to be a book about my dating journey and how chaotic and wild it. Jacob, I don't know if anybody's had. I know that a lot of people have crazy stories out there. I know. But I have 15 years of psychotic, crazy shit that has happened to me. And so I wanted to do something with it, and I decided to turn it into a podcast instead. And what I wanted to do was reveal what dating was like online and reveal, all these things. But I started finding therapists, dating coaches, life coaches, sex somatic trainers, anybody that had to do with personal growth, mental growth, physical growth, helping people on their dating journey and growth journey. So that was November 11th in 3.5 years ago. I started my podcast. And what I decided to do was take everything that my professional guests who came on here said. I wanted to take every bit of it and implement it and see if it worked. And I am walking motherfucking proof that working on yourself works. It has literally changed my entire life. Who I am, what I am. I think my physical chemistry of my body has even changed. My whole outlook on life, my whole everything is just
Did you have
magical.
a moment? When was what was the switch? And what was going on before? You were married to this crappy guy. You were in your 40s. I'm assuming it was slightly sexless. And then what happened?
Yeah, for me, most of the time, I'm a lot more than most men can handle, meaning I have a really extreme high sex drive and I have no inhibitions and I'm very I'm wild and I'll have fun and but yet I'm serious and I'm a businesswoman and I take care of life and work. But for me it was I always wanted sex with my husband and the men I've always been with just didn't want sex as much as I did. Didn't want had their own hangups, had their own insecurities, had their own, shit. So I knew that I needed to shift something. I had a trauma mentality. I was surviving constantly. It was a constant survival, trying to keep a step ahead so that I wouldn't fall into the trap of being victimized again. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, it's not about other people. It's about myself. I hated myself. I never loved myself. People used to say you have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. I thought that was fucking bullshit. And I realized with talking to all these dating coaches and somatic coaches and people who talk about, all that deep shit and bring it out and really focus and, put light on it and really talk about what is going on with that. I realized I just needed to shift shit inside of me. I needed to have a better perspective on who I was. And when I started focusing on myself, I went from this really short-haired girl to long hair, lost 30 some pounds. I got happy and I didn't need somebody else to fill my cup. My cup was already full. I wanted to find somebody. I'm looking for somebody with a full cup that we complement each other. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to help somebody grow. I want to be on a journey of loving each other and having this incredible life experience together. And things had to change for me first. So that's what this show did for me.
It was the show. The show seems to be this like thing, cool, but that part for you. But I'm just wondering, was there a moment? Was there any moment when you look back?
Well, it's interesting because when I was growing up, I was always told, don't talk about politics, religion, sex, don't talk about things. And I think it was like cracking things open and saying, let's talk about abuse. Let's talk about trauma. Let's talk about how people behave badly. Let's talk about what damage can do and how we can fix it ourselves. How can we heal ourselves? And I know what you're wondering and what you're asking for, but it's weird because my show jumps all over the place. We talk about men's mental health, women's physical health. We talk about, all these things, sex, drugs, rock and roll. It doesn't matter. We talk about so much that has to do with these different things that I think it was just a level of things clicking into place for me, just making more sense. Like, wait, do I need somebody else to help me with something? Or do I have it within myself to do it? And I think for years, I struggled searching for a man to take care of me. I was raised that a man had to take care of me, that I needed to take care of a man and a man needed to take care of me, him financially and me physically and emotionally. And I had to fill his cup and he had to fill my financial cup, basically, is what I was taught. That's where I was raised, 80s, 90s, right? And in the Midwest, I mean, where I grew up, women took care of the home, man took care of everything else outside of the home. So I thought that for years I had to have somebody do that for me. And on my journey of looking for someone to do that, I realized, wait a minute, I did it by myself. I financially supported myself. I financially supported 3 daughters. I raised 3 daughters by myself. Nobody helped me with my car. Nobody helped me fix things. I just wound up learning that I was self-sufficient, and what I wanted from a man was completely different than what I was raised to think I needed a man for. And so that was my growth journey, is knowing that I could do it, but I could also keep my heart open enough to allow a man to come in to do whatever he needs to fill my cup, whatever I need to fill his cup. It's just interesting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Are you in a relationship now?
No.
And you're with younger men though, 20 years younger.
Yeah. Sometimes.
And you're not in one. Are you physically active with like younger guys?
Yeah.
Right now.
You're asking some close to the chest stuff. Yeah, well, yes. Yes. I
So,
am
see, I would say right away that is a relationship, and often women are like, "That's not a relationship." That sounds like there's a relationship there.
no. No.
It's not a relationship though. I mean, right away I would be like, "Ah, that's interesting. That's interesting."
Yeah,
And
I
you
need
didn't really answer if there was a moment. You told me about the layers, about all these people, and you brought up a lot of stuff, but
I don't know
yeah,
if there was an actual moment. I don't know. I think it's a lot of layering. So I'm a witch. So I practice a lot of magic and I manifest a lot. And I think it was a combination of those things, the belief in myself, knowing that I could take care of things, knowing that I'm a full person on my own. I think those were the things that kind of started coming together. And I think it was about, a year and a half ago when I started realizing, holy shit, I'm actually happier. I'm actually healthier. I'm actually attracting different men. I think it took about a year and a half for things to really start to change. And here it is 3.5 years later, and it's like night and day. Completely.
you're juggling dudes. You're not in relationships, but you're having
Dude,
sex.
I juggled multiple relationships my whole life.
But I mean
And
that all goes contradictory what we're talking about in a lot of ways. I'm like, you got all this
it
room here.
is.
I'm healing, but I'm doing the same things as I've always done. I'm just trying to weed out if you're a toxic cougar or not.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
No, listen. For me right now, I'm not sexually active with anybody in particular right now. I went through a process of seeing a couple of different, situations, and for me, it's I'm looking for something beyond the sex. Even though I am sexually driven, I'm trying to put that a little bit further back, and I'm moving things. For me, I need a man who shows up, who's consistent, who doesn't think that him talking to me 1 week and then a month later reach back out and saying hey is okay. It's not. That's not effort. That's not free spirited. That's bullshit. So I really, for me, do I have people to meet my physical needs? Yes. But do I have anybody who really meets my emotional or mental or need to be in a relationship? My priority is being in a relationship, but that person is not here. So, I'm just
Oh, we're
doing my.
tapping into the Cougar Crusade, by the way. We're tapping into the Cougar Crusade pretty
We
heavily
are.
because I'm listening to you and it's still there's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise. So I'm just wondering,
Well, I am a talker.
But I'm listening and trying to find out, the answers, and this is definitely like what the Cougar Crusade's like. Um, it's asking around and it's figuring it out relationship wise. And mature women, I think, often want physical relationships, and they also want that duality. And what is that second thing? And I'm not everyone knows what they want, and that's interesting too, especially when
It is interesting that they don't know.
And I'm asking you, do you know what you want?
Oh yeah, 100%. I know exactly what I want.
What?
You talking about in a relationship or in a man?
I think, I don't think it's relationships. If that's what you want, do you want a relationship and why? But like, what
Yeah.
do you actually want? And so a lot of people, think they need to be in a relationship to have sex or to admit that or all these things. But I think the Cougar Crusade is really just finding and filling your spot and being happy for the right reasons because you are fulfilling. So you're saying all the right words, but I'm not sure if you actually if you believe in them, if you're rolling through on this.
Oh yeah. I totally believe it. I mean, anybody who listens to my show has heard me saying this shit for like 3 years. Being happy within yourself, growing within yourself, all those things are important.
You don't have a pinpointed spot for it. Like you don't know where to go look for it.
I don't, because I think that I have implemented so many different things. It's a different thing all the time. Do you see what I'm saying?
No.
Like
How can I say something when it's different each time? So I'm just trying to explain to you,
okay.
like you're scattering me up.
Well, that's my okay. Let's start over on my
I think
show.
it's what people want is pretty and Cougar Crusade. So a lot of times mature women, a toxic cougar is somebody who doesn't exactly know what she wants, because I feel like a mature woman can lay a foundation that's really strong for a younger guy. And it's a lot
Yeah.
like what people had in the past, but not all mature want to do that. Not all mature women want to do that. I think men in duality, there's a responsibility that the mature guy is going to take care of the young woman, like you were saying, that original patriarch thing going on. So I mean, can a chaotic, crazy lady that doesn't know what she wants really create a good foundation for some young guy who's learning about what it is that he wants?
Right.
And I think those are the types of relationships. I think that a really stable lady, a woman who is usually overcoming, like usually around the onset of menopause, there's like a different shift. It's more self-centered, and she's not willing to over nurture some guy. And so there's this thing, and they don't want to over nurture, but they also still want a physical relationship. And they realize that it's not about nurturing. And then so there's a lot that goes on here. I'm just trying to figure out if you'd be a good match for a younger guy, if he's actually going to get lifted or if he's going to get dropped.
Now I will say that I have dated 20s, I have dated 30s, and I think being at where I am now, I'm not really interested in the 20s and 30-year-old men anymore. I'm more interested in the 40-ish. Only because I don't want to teach him how to be sexually with a woman. I don't want to teach him how to treat me. He should be a grown man.
I think a 26-year-old should know how to treat you. So that's red cardy stuff. So if men aren't treating you right and feel like you maybe are smelling around the wrong trees, if like you have to teach a man how to treat a woman, a 22-year-old should know how to treat a woman. And I don't think there is such thing as teaching. There's no such thing as teaching. It's where you're moving towards, and and especially with a mature woman who's going to like throw these younger guys under the bus. I'm going to be like, well, who's more mature and has a much broader and like a different vision of what she wants. So again, it's
understand that when I did date 30s, mid to early 30s and 20s, I was 50 and under. So it's about 7 years ago that the last time I dated somebody that much, 20 years and younger. A lot of that has been before I started working on myself, on my journey. So I think the hard part for me when I was 47 and I dated the 24-year-old, I think at that moment is when I realized he was on a different life path than me. I was done having kids, and he wanted to still have children. He talked about having children. I was like, but dude, you can't have them with me. So I didn't want to waste too much time, keeping him from finding somebody who he could have that life with. So I stopped seeing him.
He didn't have a kid yet?
He didn't know. He was 24.
And that's always another thing, is like hook up with a guy with kids. By 24, a lot of men have kids already.
Yeah, some of them do. So I got these 2 letters, by the way, and I wanted to read them really quick. They're fast. I got one from a guy, and I got a whole bunch from guys. But this one I liked, and then I got one from a woman. Says, "Dear 50 Shades of Bullshit. So I never thought I'd be that guy writing into a podcast, but here I am. I'm 27, she's 43, and it all started because I asked for directions at the farmer's market. She was wearing the sundress that made me forget where I even wanted to go. Long story short, she laughed at my jokes. I complimented her strawberries. Yes, I know how that sounds. And next thing I know, we're sharing lemonade on a bench like a summer rom-com. The sexy part, let's just say she invited me over to help her rearrange the bookshelves, which is apparently code for let me teach you some things they don't include in the syllabus. She had jazz playing, candles lit, and this confidence that made my knees weak before we even kissed. I thought I had game until she completely rewrote my playbook. We've been seeing each other quietly for a few months now. It's not about the chemistry, though trust me, there's plenty of that. She challenges me, grounds me, and somehow makes me feel like a man and a student at the same time. Oh, yeah, age gap, more like a wisdom gap, and I'm doing extra credit every chance I get. Learning curve in Los Angeles. So, do you hear a lot of that, Jacob?
I like that. That sounded good. Like again, I don't think that the women are there to teach the men. I think they're just there to give them space to be themselves. I think men want to have sex, and so do mature women. And so when you can fulfill on each other's needs like that willingly and happily, I think it could lead to a good relationship because you're gonna get to
Yeah.
go do what you want to do. You're not burdened by this like desire for lust that you can't fulfill on anywhere. You know, younger guys can't fulfill on that with the younger woman because she doesn't know herself like these mature ladies who
Right.
open their bookshelves up for it.
Exactly. I liked the bookshelf thing. We have a couple of comments. Anastasia said she is a really cool person. Are you what? Anastasia, bitch, what are you doing to me? Be
You know,
quiet.
Anastasia?
We know Anastasia. Well, I don't know her personally. She's a listener. But you now understand you are what? But you now understand you are good being you. Yes, thank you, Mickey. You are very Mickey says I'm a very impressive person and I'm enjoying the show. We have some really great people that come someone who puts the relationship as a priority. What is that about, Misty? So
That's what she wants, and that's the type of relationship that she wants.
who puts the relationship as the yes,
man
thank you, Jacob.
puts it ahead.
Yes. I do too. I want somebody who puts the relationship, being
I don't
with
think that
me.
exists. So I don't think that exists either. I think that mature woman with her younger guy, she's putting herself first. It's like you were describing. And then she's giving him space to put himself first. And I think that's the way that's what I learned from mature women. I think, and maybe mine aren't healthy, but I learned that like as long as she's putting her mask on first, she knows where she's going. I can do that as well. And the relationships can exist as long as we're going in the same direction. And I don't know if everyone's willing to do that. And the mature woman wants to go in her own direction. She's not willing to be deterred by some fucking kid, excuse my language. And so she's it's very prioritizing other people outside of yourself for me is always like, I don't know. I like people who prioritize themselves.
I think what Misty might be saying, and I know what I mean by that, is putting the relationship as a priority. It was one of their priorities. Yes, work, do your thing. Me, do my thing. We come together, we do our thing together. But there are so many. Los Angeles sucks for dating. Okay, it really, really sucks for dating because people put other things as priorities, like. You live more than 15 miles from each other, so they're not prioritizing being together at all. They don't want to drive anywhere to see you. There's so many weird things about LA.
That's everywhere. That's everywhere. I don't want to go to the north side. I'll ask on my online if you're on the north side. I'm like, that's not a good match. You're on the north side. I don't
in
want
your
that.
hometown?
In my hometown. So same problems. 15 miles is a lot. That's a lot. It'd be nice if they were across the street.
It would be, but my neighbor.
Are you willing to drive the
15? Me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Are you
All
willing
the
to
time.
drive okay, that's what I mean. Also, women are usually down, so men are kind
all
of
the time.
lazy. I find the men are the lazier ones.
Yeah, true story. I think that there are some men that do put effort in and make you feel special and
Younger
sexy
ones, maybe.
and
Yeah, 26-year-olds.
well, yeah, well, they're not hopefully they're not divorced or jaded by then.
Well, hopefully they are divorced because then they've already had their kids, and that's great that they're jaded because then you get the opportunity to be the healthy person that can't be re-jading them. That's what I mean. And
I guess so.
if you're picking a jaded one, that's on you.
True.
It's
I'm not
all on
picking
you.
jaded shit. I'm not picking nobody anymore.
I'm just listening.
What is I have a question for you. What is the where did I put that fucking question? I wanted to ask you what was the most unexpected DM that you've ever gotten from somebody that's a cougar? Because you talk to millions of women all the time who are cougars. Your whole platform is 40 and up. So I'm curious, what's the most unexpected DM you ever got?
Recently, I was in Niagara Falls
Mhm.
and I got a DM from a woman I'd been communicating with telling me that she's in the lobby. And I was like, in the lobby? And so she wasn't a part of this event in Niagara Falls. So I was like, where are you? And she described where I was staying, and she was
Mhm.
in the lobby. And
Mm.
she had been talking to another rendition of myself, somebody else pretending to be me, who convinced her to come to the event. And uninvited. I
Oh,
mean, not uninvited, but in just she wasn't there to attend the event. She was there to be in a
okay.
relationship with me that someone
Yeah.
had. And I think
Oh, that's
which
sad.
for me, what's getting to me is that people, and when she messaged me for the message I actually got is the original thread where I met her, and I said,
Mhm.
this is me, but she was willing to talk to some random other Jacob. And I think
Mm.
that's the most surprising thing to me is that I think people have this wishful thinking sometimes and are willing to accept a catfish. That's the
Mhm.
big surprising thing.
Mhm.
And so that made me rethink about a bunch of lots of stuff when I look at people, even if I'm introducing myself, trying to be as straightforward, like this is my DM, this is where to communicate with me. Having
Right.
someone come and actually having one of the catfish kind of
Mm.
sell my event without me, kind of, and bring people in without. It blew
Wow.
me away. It blew me away.
That's sad. That's sad
It,
for her because she's gonna be
it,
heartbroken.
it was frightening for. I think it was frightening because if someone was able to do that, they could have been there. They could have been watching her. They could have been watching us.
Oh,
They knew
yeah.
all about it. So that was one of the more
Wow.
the online world and the masses of people when you meet, what it actually leads to and what it can actually create kind of a confusion. So for me,
Right?
yeah, the mature women, I'm doing my best because a lot of mature women are jumping out of relationships. They don't understand the online communication that scales up. And
Mhm.
so that's one of my main things is I want to really, because yeah, I think that's where the mature women are finding a lot of like the online dating to go astray with the
Right.
catfish.
Catfishing, it's horrible. I've seen so many heartbroken people, that have been scammed and,
And I'm
swindled
learning that. I
and
mean, I feel like catfish often, maybe not always, but often it's wishful thinking. They had an alarm go off in their head and they didn't listen.
Mhm. Mhm.
You have to
True.
listen. You have to be such a critical thinker.
True.
You have to demand video chats.
Mhm.
And so that's what my big issue was. I already talked to this person, and I've done this. This has happened to me a lot. I've kind of established the bar for the relationship
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
DMs, and then yeah, they didn't like it, so they were willing to accept this other random Jacob, and
Right.
him saying, "Oh, that's my work. I want to talk to you here." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I
Mm.
like that," and then they fall for that, and I think that's on them.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that's sad actually. She definitely had something going on in her head. So, here's my question. What is your message to cougars everywhere?
Fuck younger guys. I mean, if you're over 40, if you're a woman in her 50s telling me that you're dating guys in their 40s, I'm like, those relationships are, in my opinion, going to end up like a lot of the relationships you've already dealt with. Like you're trying to like deal with the old guy. Definitely not going to be physically happy in the
You
long term.
you don't think so?
I know so. It's not going to happen, and I don't
Mhm.
think so. And so
Interesting.
I would suggest I when listening to you talk, I'm like, oh, I feel like it's kind of unclear. It might be a little bit unclear, but if you were really clear, you could create a really safe haven for a younger guy to want to stick around and to do all the things that you need him to do to give you the room to be yourself, to run your show. And he's going to be this other bit, that shows up and gets to eat your apples kind of thing.
All right. I love it.
Strawberries, whatever it happens to be.
Our strawberries, whatever happens to be. Thank you. So I love having you here. Thank you. This was fun. I love it. Anytime you want to come back and share your message with us, we love having you. We are out of time. I hate that it goes so fast.
It did go quickly.
It went very quickly. You want to tell us real quick where people can find you?
Well, they can find details on the cougarcrusade.com.
Great.
I usually have a hat, but I don't have a hat right now.
It's all good. Cougarcrusade.com. You can find Jacob, watch his lives. He's really amazing.
I'm Boss Vloggerson.
Oh, yeah. I like that one too.
You can look up Jacob Boss too. My name right here. That's you'll find me. Don't look for the catfish. There's lots of fakers.
Yeah, there are a lot of fakers. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We are going to be here. Oh, by the way, Jacob, just so your listeners know, this will be on over 100 networks in about 48 hours. So they can listen wherever they listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever. And we would love to have you back whenever you'd like. So come and join us again.
I'd love it. I want to hear more about your future relationships with these old guys and how well they run.
I don't date old guys.
Oh,
I do not.
Over 40 is an old guy.
I'm still 17 years older than somebody if they're 40.
I mean, there used to be that idea that women are kind of cooked at 40, when in reality it's the men that are cooked at 40. That's the reality.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. So,
Cougar Crusade.
I know. Cougar Crusade. Here we go. I'll give it a try and see what you think.
Is it you're going to just hang up on me?
Nope. So, thank you everybody for coming and joining us this week. We love having you. We're going to be here again, same time, same place next week. And until then, Jacob, hold on one second until after we're out of here. Then I'll talk to you after the show. But until then, let's keep this fucking shit real. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.